and welcome to our virtual open evening. COVID has brought some changes to how the school runs. We have students in bubbles by year group, we have sanitizer at the beginning of every lesson, we have a special entrance in the basement to separate them as they come and they leave, we have social distancing while they're here, and we have a virtual open evening rather than a real opportunity for you to come into the building. And so welcome. Welcome particularly to those of you in Year 11 who are listening to this. Welcome to anyone who's listening to this, but it is the Year 11s who are the ones making the decisions. And I think that Year 11 is a really interesting time, a wonderful time, and some of you will be looking at me like I've lost it a little at that time. Wonderful but not easy. There is so much in Year 11. There are so many subjects you're studying with so many teachers giving you so much homework and so many exams at the end of the whole thing to look forward to. There are also so many decisions. You have to think about your future in the midst of all this so much. You have to decide whether you want to do A-levels or something vocational or another course like the IB. You have to decide whether you want to do sciences or study the humanities. You have to think about what university you want to go to and what course you want to follow and what job you want to have at the end of it. There is so many decisions. Well, in and amongst all of those so many, I have two pieces of good news for you. The first is that you've already made one good decision because you have decided to think about your future. You've decided to think about what will be the right sixth form for you. And thinking is always a good decision. And the second piece of good news is that you really don't need to worry about what job you're going to have at the end. You don't need to plan out your career for the next 20 years. You can make it up as you go along. If you make sound decisions now that fill the next 2 years with courses you want to study and will leave you with some transferable qualifications at the end, then that is enough. You can make the rest of the decisions a bit later. And so I guess the reason that you're watching this is that you want me to tell you why you should choose Harris Westminster as your next destination. Well, let me try to do that. Is it because of our outstanding Ofsted? Well, maybe. I mean, it's good that some people came along who know something about schools and said some nice things. Similarly, the Good Schools Guide said that we were a genuinely stimulating and scholarly place in which to study, which is promising. But they were only here for a few days and actually a couple of years ago now. So not just on that basis. Is it because of the 28% of students who get A-star AA or better, that benchmark for getting into the top universities, and therefore the 38 students who got into Oxbridge last year, the 60% of our students who go to Russell Group universities? Well, maybe, but those students are now the past of Harris Westminster, and you are the future. And one of the ideas I'll come back to is how quickly the past turns into the future, or indeed the other way around, the future turns into the past. Your time here will zip past and every hour is precious. Is it because of the students whose videos you will see elsewhere, the teachers telling you about their subject? Is it because of the incredible array of speakers who come in every week to talk about an amazing set of interests and careers and subjects? Is it because of the library, the place where I'm standing now, surrounded by books, 10,000 volumes, and the opportunity to borrow them? Well, now I think we begin to think, yes. Is it because of the assemblies that take place in St Margaret's Church or Westminster Abbey? Is it because of the cultural perspectives courses in which you can learn anything from the history of Antarctica to how to synthesize aspirin? Is it because of the opportunities that are available at Harris Westminster? And the answer to that question is definitely yes, because if there is one thing that sets Harris Westminster apart, it is the wealth of opportunities that are available to students here. And that is important, because I think that the choice you should be making for your sixth form is one that will allow you to fill up the next 2 years. Because you only have a small amount of time. It's not even 2 years, it's 22 months. You have 22 months ahead of you to study subjects more deeply and thoroughly than you ever have before. You've got 22 months to gain qualifications that you'll be writing on your CV in 22 years' time. You have 22 months to secure a place at the university of your choice and 22 months to be ready to go to university. You have 22 months to expand your ambition, to have a bigger view of what your part in the world could be. You have 22 months to make friends that will last a lifetime, and you have 22 months to develop the habits of mind and study skills that will carry you not just into university, but out the other end and into the world of work beyond. And we want students who will make the most of their time here. We want students who want to make the most of those 22 months, who will take advantage of those opportunities. And what we want is important because this is a two-way street. We're oversubscribed, and you have to choose us, but we also have to choose you. You have to be the kind of student that will benefit from a Harris Westminster education. And if I'm honest, that kind of student wasn't me when I was 16. I'd been at a comprehensive school and I found work easy. I was clever. I was the best in the class. I was not the most modest in the class, but I was the cleverest. And I went on and I found A-levels easy as well. Actually, I studied maths and I'm really good at maths. And so I got myself a place at Oxford University, and I went in thinking I would find this easy as well. And I got there, and suddenly all of this confidence evaporated, and I was scared. I was scared of the buildings, which is ridiculous because they're just old buildings. But I grew up in Sheffield, and there aren't so many of those. They got bombed in the war. I got there and I saw the students, and I was afraid of them. I was afraid of the fleet of public school boys who walked past wearing suits and calling each other Nigel. I was afraid that this place was not the right place for me. And then we went to study the maths, and the maths should have been the thing that made me feel better, that made me feel that it was right, but actually it made me feel worse because I started to fail at that. And I started to fail because of two things. I didn't know what to do when I got stuck. I didn't know that if you're stuck and you work hard at something, you'll get unstuck. Because I'd never been in that position before. I'd never had to work hard. And I didn't know that when you get stuck, you can ask somebody else, you can work with your peers, because there'd never been anyone else to work with. If I was stuck on a problem, everybody else would have been stuck on it. And what we want at Harris Westminster is to make sure that wherever your future takes you, whatever situation you find yourself in, you're not going to be scared by those things. You're not going to be scared of the buildings, because Oxford's nice and that, but it's no Westminster Abbey, and we have assemblies there every month. And you're not going to be scared of the public school boys in suits, partly because there are students wearing suits here, and partly because we rub up against the students at Westminster School. And you're not going to be scared when work gets difficult, because one thing I can promise you if you come to Harris Westminster is that no matter how clever you are, no matter how clever you think you are, I will give you work that you find hard. I will give you work that you have to persevere with. And I will give you a peer cohort that is worth sharing your problems with. A group of students as amazing and passionate and intelligent as you are, that you can work through those problems with. Our alumni come back and tell us about what it was like to go to university. And what they say is that university is hard. Everyone finds it hard, but we don't find it as hard as everyone else because we are used to things being hard. We are used to having to work hard, so we have those skills that we need to be a success. And so, should you choose to apply to Harris Westminster, would that be the right decision for you? Well, maybe. Probably, if you're heading for at least 7s in your GCSEs, so you're clever enough to access the hard academic work. If you want to make the most of your ability, if you want to study with the most incredible peer group in the country, if you want to get into a top university, and if you're prepared to work hard to get there, then yes, this could be the school for you. Fill in that application form. But the biggest decision is not whether you fill in the form by the deadline. The biggest decision is whether you put yourself through those hurdles that are coming, the entrance exams that take place in January, the interviews that take place in February, whether you're willing to put yourself out there and to be questioned, be faced with hard academic subjects. Because if you're not, then this isn't the right place for you. But if you are, I look forward to having your application. I look forward to reading your exam papers, and I look forward to meeting you at interview. Thank you.